What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night Q&A hangout that is now the off season. The season is over. We talked about this last week. Now we're kind of focused on free agency, draft, roster building, constructing, and it's really just our best thoughts on what we think the Chiefs are going to be doing as free agency gets close and then as the draft gets close. I'm not super far in my draft study and prep, but I did spend a few hours today studying the offensive line and just some of the top potential tackle candidates that are available in the first round or two. There's a couple that caught my eye for the Kansas City Chiefs because they pick late in round one. So we'll see if they could get their hands on a couple of these guys that we could probably talk about here in a bit. But been just studying draft prep and then getting ready for free agency. The Chiefs have 20 unrestricted free agents set to hit free agency, a couple big ones in Nick Bolton, Trey Smith, Justin Reed, Charles Omenihu, Hollywood Brown. The running back room is basically going to be empty. There's a lot to look at and to contemplate and to consider. Trey Smith is obviously the biggest one that everybody's talking about. Nate Taylor of The Athletic on Only Weird Games with KCSN today said that they will probably, he said they are not franchise tagging or transition tagging Trey Smith at all because that would tie up a lot of money. Obviously, $25 million is a lot of money. Once you franchise tag somebody, you instantly have to account for that with the salary cap, and the Chiefs have like $5 million. So you can obviously free up some space. You could restructure Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. We'll see what happens with him. If he retires, it frees up $17 million in cap space. If he doesn't, the cap hit is $19.8 million, but maybe they restructure him in some way, shape, or form to lower his cap hit. We'll just have to kind of wait and see here, but you can franchise tag somebody starting today and ending March 4th. That's all we really got. And with Nate Taylor, an insider for the Kansas City Chiefs, beat reporter for the Kansas City Chiefs with The Athletic, saying that they're probably not going to franchise tag anybody. We're not really going to see the Chiefs do too much. The only thing we actually have to look forward to for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be the NFL Combine. I think Andy Reid should be able to speak there a little bit, and so will Brett Veach. Brett Veach speaks there every single year, so we'll have that to look forward to. I mean, other than that, it's just studying for the draft, studying free agency. One thing I do need to look at, and we'll talk about in a video here soon, is some potential free agents that the Chiefs could look to bring in from that were playing for another team last year. So we talked about some potential left tackle options for the Kansas City Chiefs that are free agents. But what about wide receivers? I talked a little bit about that actually in last video, but what about like just any other position groups? Safeties, defensive tackles, defensive ends, running backs, cornerbacks. I mean, there's a lot that you could potentially look at as far as who the Chiefs could bring in, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But that's kind of where we are. The season's over. The Chiefs got curb stomped on national television, and many of us are still mourning or grieving. Just such an embarrassing loss. I think Mahomes changed his haircut. Okay, so that's how you know you're in the off season. If that's one of the peak pieces of Chiefs news for the day, is Mahomes got a haircut. The mohawk is gone, guys, which is pretty crazy. Frags, with the 2-bomb, Chiefs O-line gonna make me crash out. Yeah, that's one thing we'll all be watching out for, is are the Chiefs gonna be able to get somebody that they think could be a starting caliber left tackle in the draft? Maybe that could be Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. He injured his knee near the end of last year. It was maybe in end of October. But before that, he had 26 consecutive games in college where he started. It was initially right tackle, then moved over to left tackle in 2023. And he didn't allow a single sack and just one pressure through 6 games before he either tore his patella tendon or his ACL. I saw both of those, and I was trying to figure out what exactly his injury was, talking about Josh Simmons. Either way, it was a season-ending injury. And he is slated to go in the round 1, regardless of the injury, with some people's left tackle 1, offensive tackle 1 in the draft. And he could maybe fall. I mean, if you look at Warren Sharp in his mock draft today, they had the Chiefs picking Josh Simmons at pick 31. I don't think Josh Simmons will still be there, but he is an intriguing guy. Can the Chiefs have confidence that they could get a guy like that, though, in the draft? Or do you need to go get somebody in free agency to hold down the blind side of Patrick Mahomes? Regardless, Josh Simmons may not be completely ready to be dominant his rookie year with that injury and rehab and coming back from all that. So maybe if you go get somebody like Josh Simmons, you're really eyeing 2026, and you would then need a bridge left tackle. We've already talked about left tackle options, veteran left tackle options. You could bring back DJ Humphries. There's some other guys available hitting free agency that are options. But yeah, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. It's kind of the fun game of what are the Chiefs going to address in free agency. Then from there, you could pinpoint a little bit better what they could potentially do in the draft. But even they don't fully know what they're going to do in the draft. I mean, they got their board. They got guys that they want. They got guys that they could potentially go get. But you don't know what other teams are going to do. It's your best guess at the end of the day. It is an important draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you have some heavy hitters on your team right now that are taking up quite a bit of cap space, and you have to continue reloading and retooling and keeping your roster young and full of valuable contributors. Every draft has a Sky Moore. Every draft has insert player, Darian Kennard. He's not with the Chiefs anymore. Darian Kennard three-peated before the Chiefs did, by the way. Won a couple Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and then was an inactive for the Eagles in Super Bowl 59. Every draft has a guy or two that you don't land, you don't hit on. But in this draft, you need to have more hits than not. It's a big running back class. Could the Chiefs get a running back? There's defensive tackle to look at because Chris Jones is really the only guy on the roster right now that's not a pending free agent. There's a lot to address. There's a lot to look at, and it's fun. You know, with the offseason here, this is what you have to look forward to and to look at. I understand it's not everybody's favorite thing, but football is now 5-6 months away again, and you start over. The roster that the Chiefs had in the Super Bowl will not look that close in some capacity to the roster they're going to have in August and September of 2025 for the 2025 NFL season. Got to reload, got to retool. Charles Omenihu said, what did he say in a recent presser? He said, refuel and retool and refuel. That was kind of a fire phrase. Chaos, rather, with the 10. First off, as much as I love Kelsey, might be better off for us if he retires. Second, don't draft a left tackle. Keep DJ or get a new one. Drafting didn't work last time. Well, yeah, it's kind of a loaded statement because we don't even know if Kingsley Suamataia won't work out. He was a developmental guy with raw traits that you have to develop. They tried to throw him in there thinking that it could work out in year one, hoping for just Donovan Smith level play. That's not knock to Donovan Smith, just average left tackle play. You did not get that out of him. Kingsley Suamataia could still be in the works, could still be in play for a tackle spot. I am not confident in that because they've been working him at guard. In the Super Bowl, when Joe Thuney was at left tackle, Mike Caliendo was at left guard, and they were getting worked over in that game, Kingsley Suamataia was warming up for the left guard spot. They were potentially going to swap out Mike Caliendo for Kingsley Suamataia. Yeah, you say it didn't work last time. Yeah, they took Kingsley at the end of round 2. If you're going to get a tackle that you feel confident with potentially being a starter for you, it's got to be round 1, most likely. It needs to be a guy that you think could be a starter now. There's a bunch of guys that probably won't be available for the Chiefs. Will Campbell out of LSU, Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, Armand Membu, he's a right tackle out of MU. He grew up, at least went to school locally, though. Lee Summit North, I believe, which is kind of cool. Josh Simmons is going to fall a little bit because of his knee injury. You've got Gray Zabel, Wyatt Millam, Josh Connerly Jr. I see him getting mocked to the Kansas City Chiefs out of Oregon, left tackle. There's guys there, but outside of that, I mean, you're going to be getting guys that are like swing tackles / developmental guys. So yeah, if you're saying, hey, don't go draft a tackle in the first round. Well, yeah, if you don't have a true first round grade on a guy, I don't know that you need to take another developmental tackle that might not be able to play. We'll see. because you've got Kingsley, who was a second-round pick. You have Wanye, who was a third-round pick. But those guys, like Wanye could easily be your right tackle, potentially after Jawan Taylor moves on. Some people are saying get rid of Jawan Taylor. You can't get rid of him yet. His cap hit's not really going to allow that. You would have to eat like $15 million to move on from Jawan Taylor. So it's most likely at this point in time looking like left tackle's a question mark. Left guard, Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey. Right guard, is that Hunter Norzad? Is that Kingsley Suamataia? Is that another interior guy that you draft and develop later in the round? I don't know. Then you're going to have Jawan Taylor at right tackle. That's assuming they don't get a long-term deal done with Trey Smith. I think they want to offer him a deal, but he's going to have sharks smelling blood in the water, other teams in free agency, meaning he's going to get offered a lot of money because they're going to be hungry to pay that man. They're going to be hungry to pay that man a lot of money. He's going to break the guard market. I think Landon Dickerson, top of guard market, $21 million APY right now. Trey Smith's probably going to get more than that. Not if he wants to stay a Kansas City Chief. But your other comment, I think it's best if Travis Kelce retires. Yeah, we'll see. I think the Chiefs owe it to him that if he wants to play again, he's still under contract, he could play. He probably won't be your primary guy playing 95% of snaps at the age of 36 years old. You're going to need Noah Gray and Jared Wiley to step up. You're then going to need your wide receiver room to step up. And Kelce maybe... we say this every year. Travis Kelce just needs to be preserved and roll out in certain niche packages, red zone, third down, and preserve him for the playoff push. We said that last offseason. He played more snaps than ever. I don't think that was the plan. I honestly don't think that was the game plan. But when you lose Hollywood Brown on the first play of preseason, you lose Rashee Rice week 3, you have Juju Smith-Schuster that you go and get after that, but then you have Worthy, who's still developing as a rookie. I really think it was going to be funnel everything through Rice. Kelce's your secondary option. Develop Worthy. You have Hollywood as well. I think that was the plan heading into the season, and you had to really hit the abort button. You had a Mayday, change plan. Kelce, remember every year when you had to do everything for us, you're going to have to do that again at the age of 35 years old. So if Kelce comes back, it's got to be, you're here, you can contribute. He has that rapport built with Mahomes. It's magic. It's a magical connection. But you can't be that guy, the guy, needed to step up 95% of the time anymore at 36 years old. It's impossible. Tony Gonzalez, to be fair, played at a high level till 38, 39 years old. I think Travis Kelce could still do it, but you would be wise to help him. And if you have, let's say they bring Hollywood Brown back. I don't know if they do. They could, but then you'd have Rice, who was looking incredible before injury, Worthy, who was looking incredible by the second half of the season, and then you would have Hollywood and Kelce. We'll see what else they do with the wide receiver room because you have 5 guys hitting free agents. Pending free agents. 5 guys, burgers and fries. You have Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, McCole Hardman, Justin Watson, and Juju Smith-Schuster. 5 of them. There's going to be a lot of changes. I will say this, if Travis Kelce stays, that $19.8 million cap hit is a lot. I talked about in a recent video, I think they could pay him. They should probably just pay him. They owe him. He's been underpaid for years, kind of hamstrung by the market of a tight end. So the Chiefs weren't doing him dirty. He's one of the highest paid tight ends. But when you look at his production since 2018, he's top 3, top 5 amongst all pass catchers in the NFL. He's the only tight end in the top 12 in any of these statistics. We're talking all the big wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. Like, pick your poison on who the most productive wide receivers have been over the last 4 or 5 years. And I know some of those guys, they haven't necessarily been in the NFL all this time. Like Jamar Chase is up there, but he hasn't been in the NFL as long as Kelce or anything like that. But he's been underpaid based on his production. So I would be fine with paying him all of it, but I understand from a business perspective, you might not be able to do that. We'll see. Maybe they rework his deal. Maybe they convert some stuff and it allows him to have more cash and it lowers his cap hit. Clark Hunt would probably be willing to do that, I would think, for Travis Kelce. And I think Clark Hunt needs to just maybe be willing to spend a little bit more cash in general this year. You've got Mahomes on a huge cap hit, Chris Jones, Joe Tooney. You've got to figure him out. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on. That was a loaded comment, Chaos, so I spent a long time on it, but I just feel like it was worth kind of dissecting that, and I appreciate the 10 bomb. Matt with the 5. I want to see Mahomes grow out the mullet and sport that up to the three-peat in Super Bowl 62. So he cut his hair just to kind of restart, and then he's going to grow it out, or he's going to grow out a mullet now. I'm not going to lie, when I saw Mahomes' haircut, it's fine. I don't really care what people do with their hair. I got none. No hair. No room to judge. So I don't care. But I was like, is this real? Is this really Patrick Mahomes? It was wild to see that because we know him for his infamous standout style. I don't even know what you call it, but he's had his standout style forever. Yeah. Just call me T with the 2. New York fans, we can offer you a slightly used Evan Neal. Who's that? Should I know this name? Oh, offensive tackle. Is he a free agent? No, he's on the last year maybe of his rookie deal. Yeah, the problem is the Chiefs don't have a lot of draft capital. So if they're going to go get a guy, you're probably not going to go give up a bunch of draft capital for somebody. You just can't really afford to do it. I mean, maybe if it's the perfect deal and you can get somebody, yeah, like Evan Neal. I mean, he's only been in the league for a few years now. Played right tackle his rookie year. You can tell how much I watch the Giants. But if they feel like they can get somebody in free agency or via a trade that's going to be your staple left tackle moving forward, I saw Jeff Shorts. Much respect to Jeff Shorts. He knows way more about football than I ever will, but he suggested moving Jawan Taylor over to left tackle for the 2025 season and putting Wanye Morris at right tackle. I swear, man, if we go into the 2025 NFL season with the potential what if of Jawan Taylor at left tackle, I'm going to lose it, dude. I'm going to lose it. Mahomes has had a different left tackle every year for like 4 or 5 years now, since Orlando Brown Jr. left. If Jawan Taylor is going to be the left tackle, I'm going to lose it. I mean, okay, well, we could try to trust the Chiefs coaching staff on that, but he's a right tackle. We need to go get a left tackle, even if you have to double dip and pay. Jawan Taylor, you can move on from his contract after this year. Evan said Jawan Taylor sucks. He doesn't actually suck. When he's not getting flagged, he's fine. He's serviceable as a right tackle, above average right tackle, to be honest with you. But yeah, the penalties suck. He did struggle in the Super Bowl. I don't know one offensive lineman that played a great game in the Super Bowl. Maybe Creed. Creed Humphrey might be the only guy. Be the only one. And he's the best center in the NFL. Best center in the NFL. Darrell with the 2. In my honest opinion, DJ should be a backup new blood for left tackle. So, Darrell, are you saying sign DJ Humphries to another deal? He said he would love to come back to Kansas City, get a full offseason under his belt, make sure the knee is all good, the hamstring's all good. You got plenty of time. You don't have to rush him out there. And then get a tackle in the draft as well, like kind of like double dip like that. Depending on who you get, it would make sense to do that. It's just tough if you're the Chiefs in this sense when you're looking at a left tackle. Do you go make a swing early in free agency for your left tackle and then say, okay, we don't necessarily have to get a left tackle in the draft early? Or do you say we're going to try to get a left tackle as early as we can and then we'll sign a left tackle in free agency after? Like you remember a couple years ago, I think they signed Donovan Smith like right after the draft, if my memory serves me right. So they were like, okay, let's go into the draft, kind of see what we got, see what happens, see how it plays out. Then we go and sign somebody. It's kind of like it's the struggle there because when you draft at the end of round 1, sure, Josh Simmons could fall to 20, 22, 23. You package the 3rd round pick from the L'Jarius Sneed trade and you move up and you go get him. Okay. I don't know if Josh Simmons will be game ready by the start of the season with that knee injury. He might. But are you trying to go a little bit more all in on a tackle early? If so, they might be a little less hesitant to go take a quote-unquote bigger swing at a bridge left tackle early in free agency and try to address other areas of need. Remember, Nick Bolton, free agent. Justin Reed, free agent. 3 or 4 players on the D-line, free agents. Turk Wharton, Derek Nottie. There's another one. Who's the big boy? Mike Pennell. He's a free agent. I don't know why I said he's the big boy. Who's the big boy? Who's the NT, the nose tackle? And then you got Charles Minihue. You've got 5 receivers. Trey Smith. There's definitely a lot to think about and consider. And I'm just glad I'm not the Kansas City Chiefs front office. None of that. No way. Sean, what up? Sean with the 10 bomb. Howdy, HBTC community. We need to find another Trey Smith in the late round guard. Josh Simmons was patella tendon. We cannot afford to pay that high at guard. Yeah, I think that's why the thought and the belief is that Trey Smith most likely walks in free agency. I think you could argue yourself into it a little bit. You say you can't pay a guard that high. The thought is if you did go a little bit more all in on Trey Smith, his cap hit's not high this year. It balloons out a little bit later after you move on from Joe Thuney, right? So Trey Smith is your right guard long term. Joe Thuney's then gone sooner rather than later. He's 33. But easier said than done. How can you move on from Joe Thuney? That's insane. So they might actually extend Joe Thuney to lower his cap hit or restructure in some capacity. I would think they maybe try to extend him. But again, he's already 33 years old. I agree with you. It's tough. Like, you're already paying Jawan Taylor $20 million a year. Creed Humphrey is, I don't even remember what he is, 16, 17 million a year. He's the highest paid center in the NFL by a lot. He reset the center market. You're paying Jawan $20 million a year APY. Creed Humphrey is 17-ish million a year. Then Joe Thuney is like a $26 million cap hit. Jawan Taylor is like a $27 million cap hit. His average is 20 million APY, but those are some big cap hits over there. You don't even have a left tackle right now. Who is it? Kingsley? I don't think so. Wanye? I don't think so. You need a left tackle, man, that Mahomes can trust. I don't care how you do it. You got to figure that out, though. And that's why what Sean was saying with the 10 bomb, you've got to try to find your next Trey Smith in the draft. And maybe your next Trey Smith could be like, maybe Kingsley Suamataia could turn into a guard, like a decent guard. That's where they think about having him, it seems. I don't want to compare Kingsley to Trey Smith. I'm not being disrespectful to Trey Smith here in that regard. Like, Trey Smith is incredible. One of the biggest draft steals of his draft class. He fell because of health concerns, and they got him in the 6th round, I believe. He's been incredible. I'm so happy if he gets paid, no matter where it is, whether it's in KC or not. I'm going to be so happy for that guy. He deserves it. But yeah, you've got to keep finding your next gems in the draft. Late round guys, they exist and they can flourish. You got to find them. Randy with that 99 cents. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Randy the Dandy in the house. Judy with the 5. Spags, Spags' defensive strategies are so complex that rookies have to be really advanced have an advanced understanding of the game, and very few do. Yeah, that's accurate. Spags' system's pretty freaking hard. Even Justin Reed, when he was brought into the system, his first year, yeah, he was a starter, but I think he said he wasn't really getting that full grasp, full confidence in the defense, like flying around, not having to think about it. I believe he said until the second half of the season, maybe even later than the second half of the season. And he's a vet. He'd been in the NFL for multiple years by that point with the Texans. He said this is the most complex defense he's ever been a part of. So yeah, rookies, it's easier said than done. Especially for the secondary. The D-line, you can kind of get away with some of that a little bit easier. So you'll be able to rotate rookies in the interior. If you get let's say you get a defensive tackle or something, like, you could rotate him in much quicker. Not that he won't still have growing pains and he can't still develop and become better. But yeah, the secondary in particular is going to have a time. And if you don't have Nick Bolton, what are you doing in the linebacker room? You have Drew Tranquill. So he could be the Mike linebacker. He's under contract. It could work. $6.3 million per year. He's done it. He did it when Nick Bolton got hurt for half the year in 2023, dislocated his wrist, filled in for him pretty nicely. Leo Chanel, maybe he sees an uptick in snaps. But yeah, you're going to have to get these rookies involved. And we didn't, even on offense, we didn't see Xavier Worthy starting to really click and figure things out till the back half of the season. Same thing with Rashee Rice. We didn't see him start to really get involved at a greater level until the back half of the season. So you're 100% right, Judy, for sure. Let's see. Flip with the 10 bomb. Let's go, man. Cole, if you just if you go just a string of hair on your head until the Chiefs lose another game, that would be hilarious. I will even drop some hundos on every stream if you do. Like a one string of hair and just keep it growing? That's insane. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that, Flip, but I appreciate you. Oh, man. Hey, Tom Flora with the 2 said, if Travis Kelce walks, do we try to get Colston Loveland? If that's a draft pick, I'm not there yet. I'm really only through the O-line. Yeah, I'm really only through the O-line, and I'm not sure where he would stack up, but I could go like this. 2025. I saw an interesting, so the ringer.com, again, I'm not going to say these guys are perfect or you should completely rely on this as like, oh, this is the only place you need to go. No, I think you should probably double check everything, but you can go to their big board and you can search stuff by tight ends, wide receivers. But there you go. Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. I don't know where he's slated to go in the draft. And he seems like on this big board, he's number 14. So you're saying that's probably a round 1 guy, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. If Travis Kelce retires, I mean, you drafted Wiley. You've got Wiley. You've got Noah Gray that you extended. You have investment already into the tight end room. I'm not sure that you go a big swing on a tight end. I mean, unless it's like you're just going, hey, best player available, and we're just going to take the best player there. Like kind of like they did that with Trent McDuffie. He was available, and they're like, hey, let's go get him. Let's go get that guy. We'll see. Let's just see what happens with Travis Kelce. He's got to let them know before that bonus kicks in. It's like an $10.5 or $11 million of his contract like kicks in March. So they'll know before then. You'll know before the draft. I mean, if Kelce retires, you probably have to keep that consideration open. Although I'm not sure that that's going to be your biggest need early. Speaking of Tom, it reminded me of it. Tom Grossi right now is streaming until he reaches 1 million subs or raises $1 million for charity. I'm going to be on his live stream tomorrow. I think it's at 12 p.m. Central. I'm going to be on stream and would love for anybody that wants to be a part of it to give towards the charity. I don't remember the charity name off the top of my head I gave earlier today, but anything Tom does, I believe in him. I told him today on stream, he's the best of us, talking about content creators and people who are selfless and care. And I will be on his live stream tomorrow around noon. If you guys want to hop in, say what's up, drop some dono bombs for the charity. You can just donate right through the live stream, super chat style, and it'll all go to the charity. I think 100% of it goes to the charity. So we'll be on there tomorrow. Just wanted to plug that. He's doing some great things, and he's not getting off. He's not getting off until he raises $1 million. He's already been streaming like 3 days, which is crazy. Kathy with the 5, still in shock with the loss. I may need therapy. It was a bad loss. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I watched the game again the next day, watched some of the coaches' film. I watched a couple more video breakdowns on it from guys who are way smarter than me. It was bad. And what was interesting, I watched Alex Rollins' video. You should watch that if you haven't. But he breaks down the coach's film, and the Eagles' defense with Vic Fangio really aimed to neuter, to take away the quick passing game of the Kansas City Chiefs. So the quick passing game that the Chiefs had with Joe Thuney at left tackle, you drop back, within a second and a half to 2 seconds, Mahomes gets the ball out. They were aiming to take away Mahomes' first read, forcing him a lot of times to go into his read progression, but the D-line was just teeing off. And Mahomes missed some reads sometimes. He wasn't perfect. There was some deep passes open to Worthy sometimes, but the D-line got home. The O-line couldn't hold up. Mahomes was off on a couple plays. And here's the other thing. There are some plays in that game where they only rushed 3 and they dropped back 8 into coverage. But it was like a surprise. Like you didn't expect it. It was like second and long. They dropped back 8 into coverage and they're all in zone watching, trying to take away Mahomes' first read. And they did a pretty good job. So yeah, it was an ugly loss. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It was pretty awful. You know, I'm proud of the Chiefs for being able to make it back to a 3rd Super Bowl and the quest of a 3-peat. But it was ugly. I'm better, but the truth is still the truth. When I say I'm better, like the sting of the loss hurts a little less right now, but like the truth is the truth. Chiefs got freaking worked. They got worked over. Chris Jones is restructuring his contract to get talent. Is that like a fact, or you just think he will? If he will, that's cool. It makes sense. He's got a huge contract. Mahomes definitely will restructure his contract a little bit too. There's ways that the Chiefs can free up cap space. I saw somebody share recently that the Chiefs are in cap hell. They're not in cap hell. They have like no void years. They got $5 million in space right now, but they're not in cap hell. We see this every single year. They're not in a bad place. Maybe Clark Hunt will be a little bit more aggressive in cash spending. That would help. But outside of that, I mean, they're doing all right. They're not the Saints. The Bills are even not in a great place from a cap space standpoint. Travis, with the 10 bomb, kidnapped Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. Trent Williams for left tackle. Saquon Barkley for running back. Say screw the cap and sign back all our best players. Pretty simple. I mean, you'd probably win a Super Bowl that way. I don't know how you could ever afford it, but you'd probably be paying for that in 5 years. But you could go get it. Nah, you couldn't afford everybody. You would run out of draft picks. You would have no draft picks for about 4 years, and you would have no money for about 4 years. But you'd win a Super Bowl. If they were going to do that any year, should have been last year. Should have been last year for the 3-peat. Man, Saquon Barkley. Hopefully they can get an offense. Hopefully they can get, did I say they can get an offense? Hopefully they can get a running back, a dynamic running back for this offense to inject a little bit more life into this offense. That's no disrespect to Isaiah Pacheco. He needs somebody to offset him. 1-2 punch. Like, think of somebody dynamic. And it's, maybe you're not going to get somebody like this, but Kareem Hunt, his rookie year, he was fire. He was awesome. Can you get somebody that's dynamic as a dual threat back? I'm not saying Jahmyr Gibbs level, Bijan Robinson level, Saquon level, like just more. Give us more juice. Give the Chiefs more juice. That would help really. How do I want to say this? Getting somebody like that would really just take some pressure off of Patrick Mahomes. Let's be honest. You beef up the O-line, you get somebody that can help. That secondary, that defense is going to have to respect the run threat, and it's only going to help even more. They did not care in the Super Bowl about the run game, guys. They did not care. We're not scared of Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco. They didn't even really look at him. Didn't even really look at him. And that's on the flip side, how Jalen Hurts was getting some of his passes completed. He made some good throws, to be clear, but you had to respect Saquon so much. They did all they could to stop him and said, hey, if you want to move the ball down the field, you need to throw the ball. And sometimes it's going to be one-on-one down the sideline. And Jalen Hurts said, okay, and did it. So hats off to him for that. But that run game, that helps in the pass game so much. And that's something I think the Chiefs just need. You need a guy back there in the running back room. Give me a guy. I'm not in the running backs yet for the draft class. I'm not there. I studied for 3 hours on offensive tackles today. That's how far I am in my draft stuff, because I don't really look at it until after the season. But I'll know more about this year's draft than any drafts prior, because I'm taking it a lot more serious. I just think it's important. This is a very important draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I just kind of want to have my ducks in a row there. I'm not going to do a bunch of mock drafts or anything on this channel, but we'll talk draft and just who the Chiefs could be targeting, how that could help the Chiefs, especially as free agency plays out. They go hand in hand in the offseason. Tom with the 2, everyone compares Colston to Gronk, Kelsey, etc. So yeah, he's probably tight end 1 or 2 of the draft class. I feel like I've seen him mocked pretty early in some of the mock drafts I've been looking at. Like, I wonder, for example, where I'm looking at a couple different mock drafts today or for tomorrow's video just to see who some people have the Chiefs taking at the end of round 1. But I bet you Colston goes, it's Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network. Does Colston go in round 1? Yeah. Pick 20 to the Broncos in his most recent draft. I mean, if Kelsey's gone and the right guy is there, Chiefs could make a move. I just don't know if that's, even with Kelsey gone, the biggest need on the roster, especially if you can't protect Patrick Mahomes. KC Lion Squad with the 2. We became one-dimensional by abandoning the run. That was part of it too. You're right. It wasn't just they didn't have a guy back there. The run game struggled. You kick Joe Tooney out and you have Caliendo in there. It affects both pass pro and the run game. Joe Tooney's not a tackle, guys. He's a left guard. That's where he thrives. That's where he's elite. So the run game struggles. They then did abandon the run. I talked about it in my video. They had like 12 pass plays to 1 run in their first 3 or 4 drives. That's kind of unacceptable. Now, a little bit later, they tried back-to-back runs from Isaiah Pacheco when you're down 17-0. Those are on plays when you think, oh, they'll never expect us to run right here. Back-to-back runs, didn't get anywhere. So it was a mix of you abandon the run, the D-line was dominating, the O-line wasn't their best because you had Joe Tooney at left tackle. It was kind of a mix of things. But if you had a pretty game-changing guy back there, it doesn't have to be elite, but just a guy that you have to respect, it's only going to help. And we all know it. Andy with the 2. Omarion Hampton, last 2 seasons, 1,500 per season. That sounds great. That must be a running back, I would assume. Yeah, I'm not super far. I'm not super far into, I mean, maybe you're talking about, it could be a tight end for all I know. You guys have to put position groups in there for me. You got to help me out. James Cook due for a new contract. Is he an option? No, he's still on the last year of his deal. So no, he's still under contract. And he wants $15 million per year. That's why I think if you want to get a running back, you're probably going to have to draft a guy. Because $15 million a year? That's a lot of money, dude. That's more than Saquon Barkley makes. That's a lot. Whew. That is a lot of money. That's a lot. Who owns the 49ers? Said Chiefs with the 10 months. Who owns them? Maybe the Chiefs. I mean, the last 2 Super Bowls. You know? Let me make sure I'm good. Meg with the 17 months. Might be unpopular, but I think we let Bolton walk and move Tranquil into his role. He's done it before. When Bolton was injured in 2023, yeah, he took over. Could Chanel backfill DeRuse's role? I'm not sure what exactly they would do there, but I think Leo Chanel's role would have to increase for sure. We'll see. Like, they're really high on Nick Bolton, but I think Nick Bolton could get top 5-ish linebacker money in the NFL, potentially. So it's easier said than done to retain him. I'm very intrigued to see what ends up happening with Nick Bolton, because it's not going to be Trey Smith. You're not going to franchise tag any of them. If you franchise tag Nick Bolton, it's $27 million. Ain't no way. And then Trey Smith is $25 million for a franchise tag. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Ooh. UV Clip said, what do you think happens with Justin Tucker? Well, if you're subscribed to my other channel, shameless plug, Cole Breaks the Huddle, we've been talking about that. But yeah, he's had like 16 or 17 separate massage therapists come out and accuse him of sexual misconduct from the years, in between the years 2012 to 2016, from 8 different massage massage parlors around the Baltimore area. So the question is, what do I think happens? I mean, he's probably going to get suspended. A kicker is much more expendable than a quarterback like Deshaun Watson that you traded multiple picks for and signed to a $230 million guaranteed contract. So somebody like that, probably not going anywhere. He did get suspended for 11 games, talking about Watson. I think Justin Tucker probably gets suspended. You can move on from him if you're the Ravens, and it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. From a cap space standpoint, we'll see what they actually end up doing, but his job is far from safe at this point in time, that's for sure. And then if anybody else missed this, Kadarius Toney got arrested at some point, I think either earlier this month or late in January, on alleged strangulation charges. The offseason is here, that's for sure. We talked about it on the other channel, but just a sad mess. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing out here? Mekhi Becton at left tackle. Is he a free agent? He might be. If we go to Spot Track, we could pull up their free agent tab and just kind of have that pulled open. I could do that. I could do that right now. But he's not a... Well, let me look at something. Let me go left tackle. Filtering, sorting. I mean, unless you're... Like, I don't know if he's under contract or what, but here's kind of who you got in free agency for tackle. Cam Robinson, Ronnie Stanley, Tyron Smith, DJ Humphries. I mean, there's not a lot because most of the left tackles that are set to hit free agency, they're older. Most teams are not going to let their left tackle walk and hit the market. Now, there might be a couple guys like Alaric Jackson. He's younger, 26, but short arms. 32-inch arms, 32.25-inch arms. I mean, there's some potential options here for sure. But you're going to have to either act fast to get a guy you want. The Chiefs also aren't really in a place where they're going to overpay. If you don't act fast, then you need to put a little bit more eggs in the basket of the draft. Get your life right, KT. Yeah, I read that article and was just like, dude, it's unfortunate. You got everything ahead of you in life. You're a first-round draft pick. You know, it happened with the Giants in the sense of, like, you got out of there. Things didn't work out with him and the Chiefs either. And that's what you're doing. Like, come on, dude. It's just sad, to be honest. Just sad. Oh, what about Trent Williams? He's still under contract with the 49ers. Now, could he be a potential cut candidate? Maybe. I would need to look at his contract. It's a big cap hit though, I think. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's got a dead cap of $56 million. You would have to trade for him, and he's 37 years old. I don't think you're doing that. I don't think so. Cold DM in the music account. You got to start DMing my Tom if you can my HBTC account because I'm in that one all the time. Let me see. Let me see. Do you still have a take on do you have a take on Josh Cornerly or Ariante Ursary after your initial research? You know what's interesting is Ursary is local from Ruskin Heights, which I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. I could pull up my notes. Let me look at this real quick here. Tom Flora. You messaged me something. Oh, Eagles fan? Nah, I'm not. I'm not worried about what Eagles fans do with the parade. But yeah, I saw some of that stuff. They're going crazy and having fun and celebrating. Some of it's classy, some of it's not. Such is life. Such is life. So I liked if we're talking draft stuff, I like Josh Connerly. So left tackle out of Oregon. He's got some of the traits. I thought this was interesting. He played running back in high school as a freshman. I was like, really? But then he transitioned to O-line. What was that? He allowed just 1 sack on 540 pass block attempts, blocking for Bo Nix in 2023. First team All-American campaign in 2024. Just 9 pressures allowed all season long. Elite pass protector. Solid in the screen game. Clean footwork in pass pro. More strength there than as a run blocker. Could be a day one starter at left tackle. If the Chiefs are high enough on him, I'm open to it. Especially when you consider solid in the screen game. Excels more in pass pro than run blocking. The Chiefs are a pass-first offense. That's how they run it. I saw him get mocked to the Chiefs today by, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah. And he went 31 to the Chiefs. I don't know if he'll be available then or not. I ran a bunch of mocks earlier today on the PFF database trying to see what tackles would be available. He was not available very often. And neither was, who am I thinking? Josh Simmons. Neither was Josh Simmons. It was like, you know who was available a lot more was Ursery. And so about him, he's like more of like a developmental guy. I don't know if you could plug him in straight away and he's just your day one starter. But if the Chiefs are like, hey, we believe in his traits and think he could be that guy, then I would be open to it. He's just got a little less experience. Played left tackle since 2022. But he's an ideal size, excelling in the run blocking aspect. So I'm still doing more study, but in my initial looks, like those are guys that are going to be in the range for the Chiefs. If they could get Connerly, I wouldn't mind it at all. If Josh Simmons for some reason falls, would love that. I don't know that you're going to get like Will Campbell's going to be gone. He might end up being a guard anyway. Kelvin Banks Jr., he's going to be gone. Mimbu, he's probably going to be gone, but he's a right tackle. Gray Zabel is a guy, but he's kind of played all along the line. May end up being an interior guy. Tough. We'll see, man. Picking at the end of these rounds, it's a blessing and a curse because you make these deep playoff runs. It's awesome. It's fun. But then you got to draft at the end of the round. Got to draft at the end of these rounds. Tom said, best option, trade draft picks to go up and get a left tackle. Yeah, use that third round pick from the L'Jarius Sneed trade and go up and get somebody. I don't know how far they would really be willing to go, but that's what I'm saying. Like if Josh Simmons fell to 20, if Connerly was available at the right spot for them, I don't know if that would be mid-20s or something and you want to move up a little bit and go get your guy. I wouldn't mind it. I would not mind it. If you could get that left tackle on a rookie deal, a guy that's going to protect your blind side for years to come. Jawan Taylor, you could get out of his contract in a year. You'll have Creed. Joe Tooney, we'll see. He could probably play for a couple more years at a high level. He's not slowing down, even coming off of injury. Remember, he tore his pec in the AFC Championship game. Not this playoff run, but the playoff run before. Your thoughts on Tyquan Thornton? Yeah, I mean, he signed a reserve deal. He ended the season on the Chiefs practice squad. He's probably a guy to watch. He's probably a guy to watch out for, a guy that was formerly with the Patriots, right? And they scooped him up. I just don't know. I don't know what to expect of Tyquan, to be honest with you, but he's a guy to watch. He's a guy that I'm trying to remember what round. He's like a former, second round pick or something like that. Let me just Google it. I can't remember off the top of my head. He was a second round pick of the 2022 NFL draft. Fast guy, obviously. 4.28 40. Got a lot of traits that the Chiefs like in their receivers. So he could be a legit guy. So when a player gets signed to a reserve deal, a reserve futures deal, they can be a guy to watch. Think about Justin Watson. He was signed to a reserve deal from the Bucs, and he was a contributor for the Chiefs for 3 years. So he's definitely a guy to watch because you can't pay everybody. You're going to have some guys like that step up. Nico Remigio, going to have to be a guy that steps up as a returner and maybe a depth piece on offense as well. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be, out of all the players in the wide receiver room to watch for me right now, that's like question mark to potentially make the 53-man roster, he's one of them. He's definitely one of them. Somebody said, is he like a John Ross? No, he's different to me, but he's still fast. Fast guy. He did spend a little bit of time injured. Close but no cigar. Isaac with the $1, thank you. PJ with the 5. What's up, PJ? Cole, any updates on the Rashee Rice situation? What's your take on it? There's no real updates. I think they'll get things figured out this offseason, and he will start the season suspended. I would bet a lot of money on that happening, him starting the season suspended, or he gets suspended early on. Everybody freaks out about not Chiefs fans, but like the NFL's freaking out when Rice wasn't suspended to start the season last year. It's like, if you follow any of these court cases, Alvin Kamara with the nightclub incident, he was on camera with a group of other guys, including Chris Lamons, former Chiefs defensive back, knocking a guy out and then continuing to kick and punch him while he was unconscious. You had it on camera, and he didn't get suspended that year. He got suspended the next year. That happened before the Pro Bowl. He got arrested after the Pro Bowl, like, I think escorted from the stadium. Alvin Kamara did. He didn't get suspended that next year. He got suspended the year after. So that's similar to the Rice situation. And as far as like a suspension length, 4 to 6 games, give or take, maybe it could be more. It's really tough to know. What's up, Ruben? How the heck are you, man? I think Watson ends up as a practice squad guy this year. Unfortunately, I like him. Scheme this year didn't require as much. You just say Justin Watson, like they bring him back as like a flyer and he ends up making the practice squad. Could be. Ross Train all aboard. Yeah, Justin Ross is on the roster. Yeah, he's back too. Titans broke Snead. Yeah, Snead got hurt and was put on IR, which is unfortunate. The suspension might be a blessing, so Rice has time to get that knee feeling right. I think he should be right, Raz, before the season starts. But yeah, I'm excited to see the combination of him and Worthy together. What's up, Miles? I'm feeling pretty good, man. We're just deep in the offseason, or not deep in the offseason. We're preparing for a deep run in the offseason now. I am in the preliminary studies of free agency and draft stuff. Are they releasing McColl and Sky? Well, McColl's a free agent, so if they don't bring him back, then he's free to sign anywhere. He's free to sign anywhere. And then Sky still has one more year on his rookie deal, Nancy. I mean, if I had to put money on it, Sky Moore probably doesn't return. How many more years? Like, what else do you need to see? He's been on the team for 3 years, and he's had 21 catches for 250 yards for a career high. Last year, he had 3 targets for 0 yards. He spent the back half of the season on IR. I think you move on from him. Maybe the Chiefs give him one last go. But I thought last year was his last go. Pro Life said, who are you paying most attention to at the Combine? Speaking of rookies, I've really only started my draft prep today, and I'm only on offensive tackles. Like, I looked a little bit at the quarterback class, but I knew about the 2 main guys. And we don't need a quarterback. So, yeah, I've really just started getting my toes wet in the offensive tackle class. And I'm going to go there. Then I'll probably go running backs, defensive interior. I mean, basically within the next month or so, I want to be pretty fluent in top 10 at most of the position groups. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Wanting old players back always reminds me of doing the same thing and expecting different results. Yeah, I mean, Garden, there's an aspect of some players probably come back. It's just how it goes. They know the system. And if you can get Hollywood Brown back, for example, I wouldn't mind that at the right price. I would like Charles Omenihu to return, but he's going to want a lot of money, so you can't bring everybody back, but there is an aspect of bringing some of them back. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't know that you want to try to bring as many back as humanly possible from last year and say, let's run it back. I don't mind the switch up. I don't mind change. Change is fine sometimes. What team do you think is going to get Cam Ward? I mean, it's going to be, if it's not the Browns, let me look at the draft order. Let me just do this. Oh my gosh. The easiest thing will just be to pull up PFF mock draft. We're not running mock drafts, but you could just look at the draft order. Yeah, like I don't know that the Titans get a quarterback or not. Like, that's the question. They have Will Levis. You think the Titans do it? I mean, if not, let me fix this. If not, the Browns could, but they're kind of hamstrung by Deshaun Watson's contract, so I could also see them getting one of the guys on a Vetman deal that got released by a team. So think Kirk Cousins, maybe. It's just got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's got to be a guy that costs no money. The Giants could do it. Like, who do you guys think actually gets Cam Ward? Titans go Travis Hunter? Could. I saw a lot of guys, they're mocking the defensive guy. That's how you know I'm not studied up in the draft right now. The defensive guy. Start it. This guy. No, wait. That's how you know these mock drafts are. Oh, wait. Where are we? What am I looking at? There we go. Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State. Like that. That's where I see him going first overall a lot. But yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter would be a good guy. If you don't want a quarterback, he's going to be one of the best players of the entire draft. Yeah. Oh, hey. Wrong angle. In Veach we trust. He's done great so far. Yeah, of course. I mean, Veach is one of the better GMs in the NFL. Howie Roseman might be the best, but Veach is up there. And that's no disrespect. Like I think Veach is great. Top 3, top 2. Could argue that he's the best, but he's up there for sure. Who's your favorite Chiefs player? I mean, ever is Derek Thomas. Do you think the Chiefs can fix the O-line? I mean, I think that's where you have to go in Brett Veach we trust. He did it after Super Bowl 55. You just look at some of the moves Howie made, Dylan. I mean, Howie Roseman's made some incredible moves, man. They also have a lot. They pay a lot of cash, a lot of void years stuff going on, but they just won a Super Bowl doing it. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. The Chiefs are the dynasty, so it's not a knock. They've been fine too. But if you look at the roster that Howie Roseman's built, you can't really argue that he hasn't done a good job. The Eagles were the better team in the Super Bowl. Even if the Chiefs were somehow to win that game, they played lights out and fired on all cylinders. The Eagles on paper still had the better roster. Like, we knew that going into the game. They had the better O-line, the better running back room, you could argue the better wide receiver room with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Goddard is a pretty good tight end. I mean, he's not Kelsey, but pretty good roster there. And then on defense, probably argue the better secondary, maybe the better linebacker room. Zach Bond's a first-team All-Pro. I don't know if you could argue a better D-line or not, but it would be close. So just on paper, like they've got a great roster. Cam Ward will go to the Traders. What about Shadir? You don't think he'll go there? Joining Deion Sanders up with Tom Brady? Where do you feel like we have a more urgent need, defense or offense? Well, based on free agents, I mean, defense is definitely up there because Nick Bolton, Justin Reed, Charles Omenihu, Turk Wharton, Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, and there might even be another guy that I'm spacing just on defense that are all free agents. I think overall maybe the defense, but I still think the priority should probably go to the O-line. And there's plenty of guys on offense too. Trey Smith, DJ Humphries is a free agent, so left tackle's a question mark. Samaje Perine, Kareem Hunt, the 5 wide receivers that I mentioned earlier, and McCole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Justin Watson. How do you think the Chiefs can fix the O-line? I mean, we talked about it earlier. You've got to get that left tackle, and you could go a couple different ways. Do you bring back Trey Smith? I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can afford him. You probably need to extend Joe Thuney. Jawan Taylor's staying at right tackle. Creed Humphrey's staying at center. So, yeah, it's obviously the cliche answer of free agency in the draft, but it's like, how exactly are they going to do it? I can't rule out the possibility of Trey Smith staying, but he's going to be expensive. He's going to be a lot of money. You're going to miss Justin Watson for some reason. I mean, just because they're a free agent doesn't mean they can't return. Maybe Justin Watson signs for a vet min deal and he's back on a 1 year. They might test free agency and kind of go from there, some of these guys. I don't know that McCole Hardman's back if you have Nico Remigio. I'm not sure DeAndre Hopkins is back. I know some people want him back. He didn't do a lot in the back half of the year. He was traded at the deadline, but then for a few games there, he kind of had some splashes. And then in the back half of the year, so last 3 or 4 weeks of the season in the playoffs, I mean, he didn't do too much. And Mahomes just doesn't like to throw those kind of balls. He wants to throw to the open receiver. 2 left tackle and 2 right tackle in free agency. I mean, Wanye Morris is going to be your backup right tackle most likely. He could be your swing tackle, so he could be a backup left tackle. Jawan Taylor's your right tackle. So there's 2. Left tackle? I don't know. Wanye could be your backup, I guess. Then you need to get a guy. Maybe you double dip there. Free agency and the draft. Because anybody in free agency, unless you're making a huge swing or a huge signing, they're not going to be a 5-year solution at left tackle like a first-round pick would. I think I'm going to sneeze. I'll mute my mic if I am for sure. I'm debating it. Okay, I think my body changed its mind. Tom with the 2. Where do you feel? Okay, I answered that. Thank you, Tom, for all the dono bombs, brother. Dub Freak with the 5 gifted. Let's go. Thank you, man. Les 1 with the 5. Cole, did you hear about Louis Rees-Zammit? Yeah, he was signed to their active roster, which is just to their 90-man roster. So, yeah, happy for him. He's going to have to fight and compete for a spot on the 53-man roster. If not, maybe he's once again your international guy on the practice squad. They have a practice squad spot open for international players. You'd have to put, I don't remember what exactly it's called, but the international player designation on him. You can only designate one player to fill that. But yeah, rooting for him for sure. He's a fun story. I thought he needed at least a year on a practice squad to kind of slow cook. Hollywood was growing great chemistry with Mahomes in preseason. Yeah, like in the offseason, training camp, OTAs, all that. Skill set greatly opens up the field for Worthy. Would be great to have Hollywood back. I agree, Ron. I mean, if you could get Hollywood back, I am down. Especially due to the fact, I mean, sadly, he spent most of the season injured. So I don't know that his stock skyrocketed or anything like that. And that's no disrespect to him, but maybe you could get him for $7-8 million a year on a couple-year deal. We'll have to see what ends up happening. I know he would probably like to return, but at the end of the day, like it's a business, and if another team offers him more money or he feels good about going somewhere else, like the Buffalo Bills, it's not like a hard source or anything like that, but the Bills are in need of a receiver, and Hollywood Brown could be a fit there too. But yeah, I love the idea of bringing him back for a year, pairing him up once again with a healthy Rice, with a Xavier Worthy who's growing in the second year, his sophomore year in the system. I love that. I love that idea. We do not want Debo. Yeah, I think he was given permission to seek a trade. But he's like 30 years old. They're going to want some draft capital. You've got to either look, I don't know what his contract details are, but you'd have to be willing to give up draft capital for him and extend him in some fashion, most likely. I like Debo. He's a really unique guy in how you can use his skill set, but he's got a lot of wear and tear. Cole is Bay. I don't know about all that. He's got a lot of wear and tear on his body because they've used him a lot in the backfield. It's not traditional wide receiver wear and tear on that body, man. He's taken a lot of hits. Why did Perna joke that Hollywood should go to the Jets? I don't know. I missed that. Why did he say that? I mean, he did that biggest needs video for every offseason or every AFC team this offseason. Maybe it was in that. I don't know why he joked about that. About to be a long, long offseason. Yes, sir, Glow King. Have a good night, brother. Chiefs need to bring back Kareem Hunt. He's an option. He's an option potentially after the draft. Maybe you could bring him back before, but he was a guy that got passed up by every single team all offseason long last year and was on the couch when the Chiefs called him. I think you would be safe to wait. See how the draft goes. Can you get a guy in the draft that falls? It's a really rich running back class. Can you get a guy round 2, round 3? I don't know round 2. Round 3, round 4, round 5. They got Pacheco in the 7th, guys. Can you get one of those guys in this running back class that you believe in, you think would be a system fit? I'm studying running backs next after offensive linemen, most likely. If you can get a guy, maybe you don't need Hunt. Do you have your third down running back? Samaje Perine could be an option still. You didn't sign Jerick McKinnon a couple different years near the end there until like June, July, later. Second, third round of free agency after the draft. So Hunt could come back. He had 738 yards or so in 12, 13 games played. I think he could still be a contributor for sure. You might see what the Chiefs end up doing in the draft first. Dub Freak with the 20. Let's go. Thank you, man. Bring back DJ Humphries. Develop Kingsley because he is only 21. Wanye or Norzad at right guard. Maybe I think Wanye is probably your swing tackle, but that's not to say they couldn't play guard. Norzad for sure as well. Maybe draft an interior O lineman in the first, but go heavy on the trenches with the side. 4th round could be running back, wide receiver, or cornerback. Then maybe get a late but athletic linebacker. Ooh. Could you imagine an interior O lineman in the first? I mean, depending on who falls, like maybe you would be willing to do that. Casey, what are you doing? Do you see her just standing on the stairs? Casey, what are you doing, bud? Hi. Do you want to say hello? Best solution to help Patrick, assuming we aren't able to get a real solid solution at left tackle. Work on short, quick plays, getting the ball out in 2 seconds or less, i.e. Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean, that's what they were doing in the back half of the season, and then the Eagles were taking away his first read based on film study. So it's not the long-term solution. You want a solid left tackle. I mean, Mahomes has had 5. He's had Orlando Brown Jr. I'm trying to think of everybody, so maybe I'm going to miss one, but he had Donovan Smith, then had Kingsley Suamataia, had Wanye Morris, DJ Humphries, Joe Tooney. I mean, he's had like 6 left tackles in the past 3 or 4 years, which is crazy. I like how she's just setting her head on my desk. Look at this. Are you seeing this? What are you doing, bud? What are you doing? Seen a lot of Chiefs fans. Yeah, so I'm not into the defensive tackles yet, into the interior defensive guys right now, but really Chris Jones is your main guy. And if you could get the best player available, and that is a defensive tackle, like I'll just say a couple random names. Like I don't know that like Walter Nolan would be there, Derek Harmon. Like these guys went kind of, and some mock drafts are going kind of early. But if you could get a guy that you believe would be a good scheme fit, we've seen what the Eagles' success is. They build in the trenches over everything and then figure it out from there. If you can load up in the trenches, I mean, that's a win. There's no way around that. There's no arguing that. KC Lion Squad with the 10. After listening to Dion, he said Shedeur wants to be drafted higher than he was. Dion went 5th in the 4th round. So I'm thinking he will go to the Giants. Yeah, I mean, the Giants need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. The question is, when does Cam Ward go? Because I would assume most teams have Cam Ward higher than Sanders, right? If the Titans take Cam Ward, then he could absolutely, talking about Shedeur, he could absolutely go to the Giants pick 3. Why will Rashee Rice be suspended? He got in a car crash last offseason on the highway and fled the scene. Basically, is long story short. What are your thoughts on moving on from Justin Reid and making Jaden Hicks a starter? Yeah, that would be a decision I just kind of leave up to the Chiefs coaching staff, but Justin Reid is a free agent. He's probably going to want another long-term deal. Last big multi-year deal of his career, most likely. He's 28 years old. But Jaden Hicks was the best safety of last year's draft class on Dane Brugler's draft board. He showed some really good flashes his rookie year with the Kansas City Chiefs. So if Dave Merritt, defensive backs coach, and Spags think, hey, Jaden Hicks is our guy next year, and they feel like he could play Justin Reid's role well, because Justin Reid had a big responsibility back there, but also was a playmaker. Like, did he struggle in coverage from time to time? Yes. But man, that guy had great instincts and made a lot of plays too. So big shoes to fill, but I think Jaden Hicks could do it. I like the idea of bringing Justin Reid back if you can, but I understand you can only bring so many people back. You know? Did you see the Chiefs' schedule next year? Yeah. What's up, Aaron? I did. I might talk about that in tomorrow's video. Just kind of, we don't know when they're playing, but we know who they're playing at home, who they're playing away. And there's definitely some fun teams. KC Lion Squad with another dono said Dion went 4th in the 1st round. My bad. I was like, okay, thank you. I was like, he went, when you said he went 5th in the 4th round, I was like, nah. I was like, I just kind of let that one go, but I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a 1st round pick. But he went 4th in the 1st round, and he wants his son to go earlier than he did. I mean, we'll see. How can they decide that? You know, you're dependent on the teams. I mean, the Patriots definitely don't need him. The Raiders, I've seen the Raiders trade up to pick 4 from pick 6. So this is just a random mock that I ran on the database. Can I just look at this? I just want to look at this. Yeah, let's look at this. I've seen the Raiders trade up from 6 to go get him. Go get a quarterback. You could argue the Browns could take a quarterback. The Titans could take a quarterback. They might not want Will Levis. Still. All 3 of these teams could take a quarterback, potentially. Crazy. You got to think about this. Deshaun Watson re-ruptured his Achilles for a 2nd time at the end of the season. He ruptured it once and then did it again during his rehab. he might never play in the NFL again. If that's the case, Browns could definitely take a quarterback. Cole, what do you think about Tyreek Hill coming back? He's staying. He's staying with the Dolphins. He already apologized and all that. He's not going anywhere. Do you see the salary cap moving up to $300 million soon? I saw that it should balloon. Current NFL salary cap. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's 200 and something right now. In December 2024, the NFL Network reported that teams are starting to budget for a 2025 salary cap between $265 million and $275 million, which is an increase of at least $10 million per team. So, yeah, I think I don't know if it'll get there this year, $300 million, but it's going to get there eventually. If the Mannings can do it, why not Sanders? Well, true. Dion might have some say. Like, my son's not going to play there. Whether I think that's right or wrong, that just is what it is. Like, yeah, maybe you don't want to go play for the Browns. Okay. I understand. But yeah, Eli was able to do it. There's other quarterbacks and players that have been able to do that too. Browns better not. Oh, yeah. I don't think they would like that. Does the Browns organization actually make money? That's a great question. Browns without Myles Garrett would be willing to tank and take a QB next year. Hard to pass on Abdul Carter. Yeah, there's a lot of decisions these teams are going to have to weigh and see what direction they want to go. But yeah, just because though Myles Garrett requested a trade doesn't mean they have to grant it, right? Because he is still under contract. Matthew with the 5. This is the first Chiefs-related content I've watched since the Super Bowl. Not going to lie, I felt really discouraged of how bad of a performance my team put up. What's up, Matt? Well, thanks so much for the 5 bomb, man. I appreciate you being here. I feel you. That loss sucked. And I don't even blame you for staying away from the media and not giving it any attention. This is my job, so I got to be in the weeds all the time. But I remember when the Chiefs lost Super Bowl 55, I didn't talk about the Chiefs for like 2 weeks. Didn't want to talk about football. Didn't want to think about football. Yeah, it was bad. So I definitely can relate to that, 1,000%. Agla with the 5 just got here. Who was a player that stands out to you in the draft? The only player group I'm in right now, a position group rather, is offensive line. That's it. So that's where I started today. I studied up for a couple hours, and I'll probably go like position group by position group and try to get a couple of them worked through a week over the next few, starting with where I think the biggest needs for the Chiefs are. So obviously we'll go O-line, which I started working through. We'll go, and I'm probably only really going first and second round of each position group because I don't know how these people do it. How do you know prospects for all 7 rounds? That's insane. Every team has a first round pick this year. Unless they trade it, we'll see what what happens in free agency. You never know. But that's pretty crazy. Every team does. Huh. When is the last time that's happened? We need Elliott. Elliott who? What position does he play? Who do we plan to draft? Your guess is as good as mine at this point. Trade Jawan Taylor for a 3rd for a top 15 pick and get the LT of the future. I don't know how much draft capital Jawan Taylor is worth. I don't think you can move on from him. He's a $31 million dead cap or a $31 million cap. It's like something insane this year. It's a lot. The Saints are the Chiefs recycling bin, pretty much. They got a lot of former Chiefs players. Let's see if I can name them. Daniel Sorensen was on there. MVS was on there. You had Colin Saunders, Willie Gay, Tyrann Mathieu. Is that all? Am I missing somebody? I'm probably missing somebody. We need Ezekiel Elliott? Nah. We're good. Cash said you're my favorite YouTuber. Let's go, man. Thank you, bro. That's an honor. Because there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are making good content, great content. We need Raheem Mostert. Ooh, yeah, I saw the Dolphins are moving on from him. That's intriguing. I can't lie, that is intriguing. Don't know how much he would garner, I guess. how much attention he would get in the free agency market, but he's somebody to consider. I saw that the Dolphins are going to be moving on from him and a couple others, a defensive back and somebody else to save some cap space. Do the Eagles have a first-round pick? Yeah, they're pick 32. Yeah. Cole, you missed CEH. Boom. Thank you. Yeah, CEH was signed there late last year, and then they just re-signed him to a futures deal, which I thought was so cool. Like, okay, CEH didn't pan out here with the Chiefs, so I'm still rooting for the guy. His story is crazy, the PTSD struggles, all that. Genuine dude. Love to see him get a fresh start somewhere else, and he got a start, or another chance rather, with the Saints late last year. They were already out of playoff contention and all that. And somebody said a coach? I don't remember the coach off the top of my head. Oh, passing y'all? Yeah, he was on the Chiefs for like a little while. Yeah, there's a lot of people. This year's draft sucks. Nobody stands out. I mean, I don't know that it's as deep of a class as some years, or as elite, I guess, but there's still some dogs on there. Yeah, like there's some defensive ends, some pass rushers that are great. There's always going to be some guys that are going to stand out and make some plays and have good careers. Yeah, Willie Gay had some injury issues. He did. Yeah, Abdul Carter, for example, is going to be a dog. You're right. CEH signed your hat in the parade 2 seasons ago. Oh, that's awesome. He didn't sign his name, though? What did he sign if he didn't sign it? Are you a fan of replacing Nagy with John Gruden? Yeah, I mean, I'm fine if they want to move on from Nagy and find somebody else. And Gruden, like he has his stuff that he got released from the NFL for. Like, I don't respect that at all. But I think Gruden is a good coach, a great communicator. And if anybody is good at bringing in somebody who's at a low point and kind of help him reestablish himself and his reputation and like all that stuff, I could see him doing it. But the thing is, like, the Chiefs just made 3 Super Bowls in a row, 2 in a row with Nagy as the OC. I don't know that they're actually going to move on from Nagy. So that's why when I'm hesitant, when I answer, I'm just like, I don't really know what they're going to do with Nagy. I think he's still under contract. Maybe they do move on from him. Maybe they do. But I am not sure that actually happens. They will only bring in the coaches Mahomes and Andy Reid will bring in. Yeah, I mean, it's Andy Reid's show. He's got a healthy relationship with Clark Hunt, of course, but Andy Reid would make that decision. Oh, and Brett Veach would have some say. Gruden's better. I mean, yeah, I watch all of Gruden's stuff, man. I mean, he's a great communicator. I watched his Super Bowl preview video. He's a great storyteller. I know he was a good coach, too. So I guess I'm not opposed. If that's what they decided to do, it's not just looking at it strictly from like a coaching standpoint. It's not going to hurt the room. That's for sure. Throw more cash to steal Bieniemy back. I don't know how that works because he is the running backs coach for the Bears. If the Chiefs wanted Bieniemy back, he would be back. They don't want him back. I don't know why. I don't know if there's even hard feelings. But if they wanted Bieniemy back, there would have been communication there, and he could have signed with the Chiefs coaching staff after the Super Bowl. They didn't want him back. Again, I'm not saying there's bad blood or anything like that, but they could have brought him back and they didn't. They chose not to. It was way back even before Terry Bradshaw. That's the last time in a draft everybody's had a first-round pick? Really? That's insane, Tom. I got to look that up. Not right now. I'm going to make a note for it. Yeah, Doug Peterson is a likely guy that the Chiefs could bring in some capacity to the offense. If it's not as OC, could it be as a assistant coach, make up a title so he can be in the room with you? Possibly so. Matt with the 5. I don't live local, so it's been rough. Thankful for back-to-back. Yeah, definitely you got to have a gratitude for what we've seen the Chiefs do. 7 straight AFC championships, 5 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years. You won 3 of them. I would have loved to see them win that 4th one, win that 3rd one in a row in particular, but it didn't happen. It wasn't even close. Let's just be honest. I feels like the world hates us more than they hated the Patriots for no reason. I feel like recency bias is just a hell of a drug. When the Patriots win their dynasty, they did that in the early thousands. They did it again later at the end of Tom Brady's career with New England. Everybody hated them. We did too, Chiefs fans. We all wanted them to lose. We all said, hey, they get favorable calls. We all were part of that. And then they legit cheated. There's that too. $5 for Casey because she's being so cute. Judy, thank you for the 5. Yeah, she's been back here. I think you can't really see her right now, but she's been rolling around playing with this dog. It's so cold here. It's 0 degrees outside right now, so we can't really let her run around outside for a ton or for a lot of time because she get a little frostbite on her paws. I don't know why I did this. What's this mean? I don't know. Terry, thank you so much for the 7 months. Let's go. What's up, jammers? Love the content. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Administrator, assistant to the offense. There you go, Dave. He'd be something. They'd find a way. I would like Doug Peterson as the OC. He'd be great. Led a backup QB to a Super Bowl to beat Tom freaking Brady. Even if he's been balls on the Jags, he'd be great for the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, he makes sense. He does. I could see it happening. That's an Andy Reid thing to do. Bring back somebody that you used to have, like they did Nagy when he got fired from the Bears. Could definitely see that happening. You love the Chiefs, but I'm better? I'm not better than the Chiefs. Thanks for the kind words, though. Waffle House play call holder? Exactly. Yeah, Doug Peterson was the first OC for the Chiefs when Andy Reid came to town from 2013 to 2015. You're right, Kansas City fan. In New York, you're hitting negatives. Yeah, I mean, it's... I text my wife, Danny. Let me see. This is what it looks like in KC. So today was 5. Tomorrow's a high of 6, low of -4. Thursday is a high of 10, low of -12. But the wind chill's like in the negative 20s. Again, there's other places that are way colder. But for Kansas City area, that's that's pretty cold. It's pretty cold. Yeah, Casey Lyon, you asked that earlier. I did answer you. You said, did the Eagles have a first-round pick? Yeah, they do. They have pick 32. Mm-hmm. They do. Thank you. Thoughts on Scabito? Dude, I don't even know. Is that a player? Because, I don't know. Oh, a running back? Okay, I'm not in the running backs yet. I thought it was like the Scabidi toilet or whatever. You were trolling me, dude. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I don't really look at college ball and study the draft until after the football season. So I've only been through the offensive tackles, but I know it's a really deep running back class, and I'm not sure where he's slated to go. 3rd round. This would be a great class for the Chiefs to get a guy if they can. Scabito. It's kind of a baller name. Cam Scabito from Arizona State in the house. Cut Patrick Mahomes, signed Daniel Jones. I know you're trolling, but dude, I saw a report that the Steelers were potentially interested in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones? Okay. That kid won MVP for the bowl game and they lost? How do you win? How do you get MVP for a bowl game that you lose? That's possible. Mark said the only way Gruden joins the staff is if he runs a victory lap around the stadium. Touche. Danny Dimes, baby. We called him, what did we call him? Danny Dumps? I don't remember what we called him. We had a nickname for him on my other channel. Scatubbo? No, Scatabu. Scataboo? Scataboo. Really? Okay. That's crazy. Look. Scataboo. Dude, last names are wild. Every time I do draft prep, I just have to go try to find how to pronounce these names. Especially... Okay, Casey's going crazy with their toy. Especially if they're Polynesian. If they're like an islander. When they drafted Kingsley, I had to study his last name for like 2 weeks. Kingsley Suamataia. Kingsley Suamataia. Like I went and looked up him saying it. Watched it over 1,000 times. Can't believe Pat's turning 30. He is. Heard a rumor that Kelsey wants to be offensive coordinator. I don't know about all that. Any idea on how Mahomes' contract can be manipulated this year? Yeah, it just depends on how much of that lever you want to pull and convert to roster bonuses and other miscellaneous bonuses. I don't remember exactly all that goes into it, but it basically converts it to cash. He gets that money sooner, and it lowers his cap hit. But it pushes it kind of into it pushes it down the pipeline a little bit. It can. It doesn't kick a lot of void years down the road because his contract is so long that it still is like just ballooning and making the cap hit of future years later. It's not really adding void years. His contract is really well set up. But yeah, I mean, every year you could restructure him and free up cap space. My dog is going crazy. Are you guys seeing this? Dude, she's attacking this toy. She's attacking this toy right now, guys. Yeah, Hakai, they don't have to restructure him to free up that much money, but they can. They can free up a bunch of money. She's a cold-blooded killer. Yeah, it's so funny. Every time she plays with the toys or any dog, when they do the head shake thing, it's like an ancestry reflex from like snapping necks of their prey that they're trying to eat. I'm like, okay, little neck breaker. Cole, you need a second dog? I wouldn't mind a second dog, but my wife's kind of the boss. So she said one is fine for now, and I'm just grateful for one. It took a long time to get her to say yes to one. Thoughts on Justin Ross? You think if we don't sign a receiver, he could play a role in our offense next year? I don't know, man. I mean, maybe. He's made the roster before, and he contributed a little, not too much. I'm not going to have high hopes, I guess. I mean, maybe he could wow me and completely change my mind, but if he makes the roster, he's going to be your depth piece guy. Wide receiver 5, 6. Who do you see at left tackle potentially? Well, if they don't bring back DJ Humphries, I mean, there's a few different free agents that are a possibility. If you're looking in the draft, I mean, I shared it a little bit earlier. If Josh Simmons falls out of Ohio State, tore his patella tendon in October, because of that injury, he could fall. If the Chiefs go up and get him, that's a guy. You got Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. He played left tackle for quite a while. He blocked for Bo Nix. Like, that's definitely a guy. I mean, you're not going to be able to get Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks. Mimbu, he's a right tackle out of MU. I don't know why you would get him unless you're like, hey, that's our right tackle of the future. And that's for really 2026 when Jawan Taylor's gone. But he should probably go top 15-ish, top 20 at the latest. I mean, there's Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. He's a bit more raw, needs some developing, but there are some guys potentially, for sure. Cameron Williams is a right tackle. I don't think you're going to concern yourself with that. I wouldn't think. Could be wrong, but I wouldn't think so. Danny Jones to the Raiders, please and thank you. Josh, thanks so much for the membership. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that actually happened? if Chiefs ever need to play Justin Ross, they're hurting for talent. I mean, much respect to Justin Ross, but he's probably like a depth piece guy at this point in time. I mean, they released him and he cleared waivers. So other teams weren't interested in him either at the time. Casey, what up? Come. What are you doing? Veach will find a diamond in the rough at OT in the draft. I love it. I mean, they've taken a couple swings. They hit a bunch of linemen last year, from Kingsley to Hunter Norzad. CJ Hansen, was he the 7th round pick? Has there ever been a team where every player on the team is a veteran? No newbies? Nah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe early on, but nah, you've got to build a lot through the draft, and undrafted free agents play a role too as well. What's up, buddy? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Veach he's definitely tried. Like, Wanye Morris was a 3rd round pick 2 years ago. Kingsley was a 2nd round pick. He's definitely been trying. You think they should tag and trade Trey Smith, move Kingsley to right guard, and draft or trade for a left tackle? Yeah, I mean, all those are possibilities, Lou. It seems like the Chiefs are not going to be tagging anybody. If you tag Trey Smith, you're going to need $25 million in cap space, and then that kind of hamstrings you for other moves that you can make in free agency. But I understand the premise there. You tag him, try to get more draft capital out of him because he's going to be highly sought after in free agency. Kingsley seems like a guy they want to move to guard, or they're at least open to it. Maybe you're not going to rule tackle out completely with Kingsley, but they were trying to play him at guard in the back half of the season if he needed to go in there. I mean, week 18 when they rested starters, Kingsley went in, I believe, at guard. He was working in at guard, was warming up at guard to potentially go in for Mike Caliendo during the Super Bowl. Lil Cam, with the 2 months, our down year is your best year, said Nick Wright. Nick Wright's got a bunch of liners. You would trade Tooney? I don't know if anybody would trade for a 33-year-old guard with the cap hit that he's got with 1 year left on his contract. I feel like that's a guy you keep around. Maybe you reach an extension with him for a couple more years with an out after 2 or something, but I don't know that you could... if you're trading anybody, it would be a younger guy that would be highly sought after, which is why some people say, hey, you could tag and trade Trey Smith, but I mean, I guess crazier things have happened. They traded Tyreek Hill away. I thought that would never happen. So you never know. Cut Sky Moore? Yeah, you definitely could. Was it CDOT who said that? Oh, what did CDOT say? Somebody said, did you ever play football? I did not. No. I just grew up watching the Chiefs. I trained in Taekwondo. It was like the predominant thing I did. Just played backyard football and watched the Chiefs. That's it. That's all I got. Lifelong Chiefs fan, grew up watching the Chiefs, but never played. Smith ain't the player that you should pay top market money to. I mean, I guess the only reason I'm going to disagree with you, Kyle, is because the market dictates that, and Trey Smith is literally going to... I mean, if you're saying, hey, maybe that's not the guy the Chiefs are supposed to pay, okay, but he's going to get paid top guard market money in free agency if the Chiefs don't pay it, which is fine. There are going to be other teams that have more cap space that need the interior help maybe a little bit more for whatever reason, like because they don't have Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey right there as well. But he's definitely going to... He's either going to top the guard market from an APY standpoint or hit that $21 million a year mark, same as Landon Dickerson. Marcus with the 12 months. Oh, boy. We up to a whole dang year. 12 months, bro. Let's go. Thanks, everyone, for making this as fun as it is. Cole, I kept my membership because this is a channel that comprehensively talks Chiefs all year long. Thank you, and how about those Chiefs? Well, thank you, man. I appreciate everybody being here. It means more to me than you'll ever know. Thanks, mods, for holding it down. All the members, all the questions. We'll be back tomorrow with a long-form video. We'll probably have another long-form video on Friday. My wife goes out of town to where's she going? Texas for the weekend. Girls trip. So I'm going to be holding it down with the kids. I'm going to be in full-on dad mode this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Danny works hard, really holds it down for the family. This is her birthday weekend, so Danny is turning 33. And she deserves to do something. It's the off season, and she holds it down during the season. What on earth? Steve SoCal with the 50 bomb. Said you went off the air before I was able to drop the 50 bomb during the Super Bowl. Holy smokes. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Great job calling the games last season, and keeping us well informed. Well, Steve, thanks so much, man. Calling the Super Bowl was very hard. Like, that was a sad game. From Mahomes' pick 6 on, I was like, yeah, this is not looking good. That was a rough one. That was a very rough game. But thanks so much for the 50 bomb, for the kind words, and I'm so glad that you enjoy the content and you're around for the streams during the games. It means a lot. What degree did you get to? I got to second degree black belt, Matthew. Tom with the 2. Cole, I looked all the way back to the 1864 draft, and there's never been a draft with every team has their first round pick. That's actually insane. How much longer are you going to be on? No, I'm about to get off. You sure you didn't, you sure you don't think getting rid of Matt Nagy would be good for the Chiefs? Oh, I'm not. I mean, it'd probably be fine. Andy Reid runs the ship on offense and calls the plays. If they want to move on from Nagy, I'm totally fine with it. I'm of the opinion, like, if you could bring in some fresh blood, it would probably be a good idea. But it's hard to say that they'll do that when you've made it to 3 Super Bowls in a row. Nagy's been on the team as a coach for those 3 years, OC for the last 2. So it's hard to say. But yeah, offensively, they've taken a dip. And I would like to see a little bit more juice infused into the offense. Some of that's just going to be with the players and not having injuries and Mahomes having a dependable left tackle that he trusts again for sure. I'm not pro Nagy, if that makes sense. Like, Andy Reid runs the show, but if you could bring in an OC or somebody that's new or that could infuse some new ideas into the offense, I would totally be for it. Somebody said, do you think our O-line will be better next year? I mean, I hope so. Please. They have to be. No exceptions. You got to. You should go live on Twitch also. We'll see. I might do some, I might resurrect my gaming channel this offseason and do some streaming on, hey, focus up camera, and do some streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Bro, what is wrong with my camera? There we go. We'll see. We'll see if I bring back the gaming channel this offseason. I might do it just to have some fun for an extra stream sometime during the week or the weekend or something like that. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I'm going to call it and just go rest up for a long day tomorrow. Appreciate you, and until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.